at here, look at here, look at here. It's Tuesday, and I'm excited about tonight because we get a chance to talk about a whole lot of things, right? We got to talk about Jon Gruden. We got to talk about the loss to A&M. We got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys still winning, doing their thing. So there's a lot of great topics that we need to be able to. It's a great football weekend. Lots of games that happened, including OU beating Texas. I was there. I was in person. Be able to see that. So we got a really good show lined up over the next hour. So make sure that you're staying in tune. Make sure you post your questions if you have them. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, make sure that you interact with us so that me and JT can answer some of your questions. But before we get into all that, I need to make sure I give a run out for you and give you an opinion on my piece. A lot of people kind of been asking me about Jon Gruden. What does this mean when you have controversy like this, when emails are out? What happens if they're years old, over for about this? So bear with me just for a second, right? Because as a person, as a father, one of the things I always talk about is we have an ability to make choices, having decisions to make, and understand the consequences that come with them. Right? So choices, decisions, consequences. Man, I've been talking about this for years because I think it's so true, right? So when we get in cases like this where now we're knowing the world is changing, people are sensitive, we have to be right about what we say, who we're talking to, and all this kind of stuff. And we have choices all the time. They may not be the best choices for us to make, but we have to make choices, right? And so we have to be good decision makers. So when you're speaking of Gruden or any other celebrity or a person who is of influence to someone, we have to make decisions knowing what the consequences might be, right? So as mentors and as leaders, we have to be very conscious and understanding that anything and everything that we say as leaders, as celebrities, as people and leaders of organizations, what we say and what we do can ultimately lead to some type of consequence that we might not necessarily agree with personally, or that people may view differently. So when Jon Gruden sent these emails years ago, right, and I try to talk to my kids about this when I can, about everything that you do, any text that you send, any email that you send, any phone conversation that you have, may be recorded, may not be. Those things could weigh on you later down the road. So when we're joking, what we think may be locker room jokes or just banter between two friends or something, this day and age, we're not built for that. We're not really built for that because it can haunt you and it can cost you your job, right? So the insensitive nature of what may be said, maybe he didn't mean it, talking about someone's lips, African-American lips, or about gays, or whatever it is, right? We got to understand that when we say those type of things, it could haunt you. So let me give you a real life situation that happened to me not too long ago, right? So I know a person that I know for a fact was not trying to be racial towards me. Young white lady that I have a good relationship with, or whatnot, but made a statement like, hey, basically called me a monkey, right? Oh, you being such a monkey, silly monkey, this, that, and the other. And other people around there were kind of looking at me like, what do does she know what she's kind of saying here? So I didn't take immediate action with that, but I did go have the conversation with her and said, hey, I don't think that you were being racist, but some people take that in a way where they think that's offensive, right? And she didn't know. She didn't understand. She said she didn't know. She said she didn't understand. You can take them at their word or you can't, right? Sometimes, depending on how you feel and this kind of stuff. All I know is it could affect a working relationship, a friendship, or some of that nature. So Jon Gruden got caught up into something where he made some comments, some statements that ultimately he made the decision to make. And now in this world, in this day and age, our decisions can lead to you being fired. And so, with that being said, I want to bring JT in now because I bloviated for I don't know how many minutes, probably a good 5 minutes or so. That and it all kind of broke football. Then he had to resign. Things kind of escalated. I think pretty fast. And like, hey, some old emails. We were talking about one person, then it went to this, and it sounded like the NFL kind of jumped in. And I feel like the NFL basically told the Raiders that, hey, you're gonna need to take some kind of action with this dude. And ultimately that ended up leading to his job. So. Any kind of comments or any kind of take that you have about this as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's it kind of all turned quickly, right? Because I thought the first DeMaurice Smith thing, I was like, all right, that's not that bad. He can survive that. He had some kind of out, I guess, whether you believed him or not on like what it actually meant. I was like, all right, that one's fine. They'll get over it. But then as more started coming out, he's saying things about Goodell. He's interacting with that dude from football team that ended up getting fired, who was under investigation for workplace misconduct, sending topless photos of their cheerleaders back and forth. And at some point you're like, come on, man, you got to put down the shovel. Like you're digging yourself in a deeper and deeper hole. It's one thing if it's one email, because Glenn had, again, apparently my friends get news faster than I do. So he sends me the tweet first, and I was only aware of the DeMaurice Smith thing. And when I saw that he was going to resign, I was like, what? Wait, what? What for? And then he was like, oh no, there's more than came out. And then he was like, and he said something about Roger Goodell, and that's probably what ended up getting him canned. And then once I read all the things, I was like, oh yeah, no, you start to see the pattern, and what I think really ends up getting him in trouble is that the NFL is trying to move in a certain direction, especially marketing and like what they're trying to have their brand. And with those particular emails, you have somebody that is, I don't want to say the face, but somebody who's prominent in your game and in your organization, directly conflicting what you're trying to promote yourself as. And once you start messing with other people's pockets, you can just go ahead and bet that they're not going to want you around no more.
So, but JT, let's get to the back. How did all this really happen? And I agree with what you're saying. I'm more curious, I guess, of how the emails started to surface and why. He wasn't with the NFL then. What I haven't really heard anything on why these actually came up. How do you get 65,000 emails that you have to go through of someone who's not affiliated with your organization and all that kind of stuff? What have you heard anything about how this really was brought to the light, and why not 4 years ago when he was hired?
My understanding is that it stemmed from this ongoing investigation with the Washington football team, and the main person he was communicating with is the person that Washington football team got rid of amongst all of their sexual assault allegations and all the things that were coming out a year ago that apparently the NFL is still investigating. Why there are not more things coming out about him and what's going on with that investigation, I don't know. But from my understanding, that is where that's how he got tied up into all of it, because his buddy, in at least in the sense of who he's emailing all the time, was what the NFL would consider one of the ringleaders of what was going on in Washington before they had to start cleaning house.
Yeah. So I think this goes into a point for you old cats and you young fellas, or whoever is listening to this show, whether it's live or post recording, is what I'm hearing is birds of a feather flock together, right? You communicate with people that have like minds or like interests, and when you're dealing with someone, as JT has kind of pointed out, maybe not, but he was being investigated or whatnot. So you have to be careful with who you're talking to, what you're saying, and know your company. We talk about it all the time, right? As coaches and as in the ultimately, and I can say it, man, hey, I ain't no genius. I ain't perfect. There are a lot of mistakes that I've made over the course of my life. I'm here to tell you, man, I know I've said some dumb shit to some people. I probably had some jokes back in college or high school or whatever it was that were probably inappropriate and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like nothing's ever happened. What I do know and what I've learned is, you hang out in certain places, you talk to certain people, and a lot of times you have like minds, right? And if you're sharing information like this with Gruden, and you're, saying whatever he was saying, I haven't read any emails, I haven't seen the documents or whatnot. I'm only going by what I've seen on TV and news. But there are. Jerry Jones talked about it today on 105 through the Fan. He just said, hey, man, people got to be held accountable for their actions. Whether he agrees with it or whatnot, each organization has to make their decision. And they made this decision for Griffin. For Gruden. So,
and we've got one comment from Craig Young that says, I believe any demoralizing of any race, creed, or sexuality should be punished, especially in a leadership role.
Okay. Yes, and I have to say, Craig Young, well, I've been thinking about this, and I started tweeting it out earlier to Claire. Clara was, you're a Teagster, man. I think that's what I'm going to start calling these people that are following us, man. Those old Teagsters. Now, my brothers and some of them might not like that, but you're a regular on the show, Craig. We do appreciate everything you do and the interaction, and appreciate your words like that too. We do have to be held accountable, right?
And Bryce Carlson is back too.
So
I said Bryce Carlson is back too, and Clara's here as well.
Yeah, because I know Clara want to stir up some stuff. She wasn't on the Bama section. So is Meredith Henry and some others of that. All my Texas A&M friends are waiting to hear what I got to say about this doggone game. I've had more, what I say, jabs back at me even today, leaving school. Learning specialists, started jabbing me out of a car in the parking lot. This whoop thing, whatever A&M says. So anyway, the Gruden deal, man, I think he's done. He won't coach anymore. I think he won't be on TV anymore. I think he'll go to his lake house or, wherever he wants to retire and all that, and just kind of, roll off into the sunset. So we'll see if they end up being for the remainder of the year, with the head coach, right? So we'll kind of go ahead and segment into this a little bit, because we're talking about decisions and choices. Got a couple different ways, right? Because no, let's go ahead and go to Bama. Because we had some choices, some decisions to make in that game as well. We lost. I'll go ahead and say that to you guys. I'm acknowledging it. I ain't crying. I ain't whatever about that kind of stuff. Does it hurt? Does it sting? Absolutely it does. But we had our chances. We had our chances, right? We were off balance in the first half. I think Jimbo had a really good plan of how he wanted to attack us defensively from their side, what they tried to do. And I think there's some individuals on Texas A&M team that we might not have taken as seriously as I thought. It wasn't Spiller, but it was the number 6 cat. His name.
A chain.
I kept calling him.
A chain. That's his last
Is that
name.
how you say it? Hey. Yes, that dude was fast in a mug, man. We weren't trying to catch him. He was rolling. So I think they utilized that with what we talk about all the time, JT, the mismatch with linebackers and us trying to cover them guys. They were trying to put them on our linebackers, and they exploited that early. We made adjustments in the second half. I think it was good, but it was just a little bit too late. So the piece that I want to get into is the decision. I don't think I'm hearing enough about this. The decision to aggressively try to score before the end of the half. You know what I'm talking about? I think they had the ball. We could have started burning our timeout so that we could have got the ball back. But Nick Saban decided to go ahead and not use those timeouts. To at least put ourselves in a position where we could have got a field goal, because we were going to get the ball in the second half. So I felt like we should have utilized that opportunity to try to score some points. Then 3 points makes a difference in the ball game, right? So where you at on this, man? Do you think did we really have a shot? Or is A&M that much better than us, or what do you think?
No. Well, one, they were better than us that day, but they are not a better team. Mario Moore says we got outcoached, outplayed. Defense was confused, and the offense couldn't figure out the pressure schemes. The defense started out with like 4 straight busted coverages. And I'm not sure. Well, I shouldn't say 4 straight, because Malachi Moore gets ejected on the second play of the game, which you can argue whether ticky-tack or not. But the fact is that was like, if you read the rules and then watch the play, you'd be like, well, yeah, that fits the rules, and you're ejected for that. That's just what it is. I don't particularly know why he felt like he needed to have a shot on the quarterback, but it is what it is. So now you're down. Now you're down your best defensive back, at least. I almost said player. He might be our best defensive player, but at least he's the best guy in the secondary. And then it became exposed at the end of the game when Daniel Wright just couldn't. He couldn't cover whoever it was that was. And it might have been number 0. Whoever. It seemed like they had everybody on him. They was just like, let's just find 14. We know he's in man, and we're just gonna run by him, because that's what was going on. The offense couldn't figure it out. I said before that I thought they had problems in the run game. I think they still have problems in the run game. They can't run to the right at all. I don't know that Chris Owens is. I don't know if he's the guy. Maybe he's the best we got, but that would be rather unfortunate. He didn't have a very good game. I'm not too concerned about the end of the first half, because at the end of the first quarter, I was like, look, we just need to get to halftime. Like, whatever it is, we need to get to halftime, and I feel like Coach Saban was saying the same thing. He was like, look, our offense has been anemic. They've been atrocious. They can't. Bryce Young is not figuring out how to set his protection to pick up these blitzes. And I feel like one more drive would have just been they couldn't do anything up until that point. So I was kind of under the impression, like, why even put him out there one more time just to look bad for one more drive and then punt the ball again? Let's just go ahead and get in the locker room, talk about what we need to do, come out and be better. And I thought that worked out pretty well. I mean, they had a lead for a split second.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets tied, and you just need one more defensive stop, and they couldn't get it. And I think I think that goes back to the second play of the game where Malachi Moore gets ejected for targeting, and you've got a mismatch anywhere that Daniel Wright is apparently that day. So that's kind of my complete diagnosis on it. You needed one stop at least to get into overtime, and I think because the longer the game goes, the more chances you have for talent to take over. So at that point, I was kind of like, hey, just get it to overtime. But that wasn't in the cards, especially with that last pass interference.
Okay, so I'm gonna I understand your point. I mean, we've been in those situations, both on the sideline. Maybe things aren't going well in the first half and things of that nature. But, I get it. You say, man, let's just get in here and let's just, try to make it work. All right, I guess I'll say I'm 50-50 on that, but I don't necessarily. I just feel like there's a chance. I know as a head coach, I've always thought about how do I double up now? I need to try to get something if possible. So I'm hearing your point, but also, man, if I can get 3 points, 7 points now, and then I get the ball back and I can go again, right? But so I guess my next piece would be, well, what about in the second half? We still went to the game with, maybe you say, well, the timeout, the interference call and all that kind of stuff, but we didn't. We still left 3 timeouts on the end of the game, at the end of the game, and we're in a battle. There was one drive in there, I don't remember what it was, and we didn't score. And it was critical. I know we needed to score then, but we didn't. So we got behind the sticks again. And I'm sorry, I didn't acknowledge Mario Morris. Appreciate you for being there, my brother, and understanding all this kind of stuff. I think there was you're right, some coaching pieces that were that didn't happen for us in this game, especially in that hostile environment, right? But needless to say, they were ready to play. They were ready to play. I just think we made some critical errors in certain aspects of the game that we could have did a little bit better and to get over that hump towards the end of the game. You're right, JT. I think we got exposed a little bit again. Not having Malachi, yeah, that definitely hurts.
Well, then you got folks just uncharacteristically just dropping passes just in the middle of the field. Just they weren't bad throws; they're just drops. You're expecting Jaleel Billingsley to hold on to one. You're expecting Jamison Williams to hold on to one. I don't know that Mechie was involved at all during that game. And then
Billingsley, and I'm not talking about players as a we blaming players. No, that's not it. He seemed a little stale to me. I've had those kind of games where you're not necessarily in it or something, and I don't know what it was. It just seemed like he wasn't fully there. It seemed like he was going to be a part of it, and he couldn't make it. It was uncharacteristic, as you said, of him not catching the ball. And some big opportunities that he had. So I think we're going to bounce back. I think this is can we use the word good loss? Was there better timing for it or whatnot? I think it came, away. It came against a team that we all were thinking we were going to beat and handle. So I think this is a way for the guys to get refocused and say, okay, we can't allow this to happen again. You know, they're going to be amped and ready for Mississippi State any other game. You know, after this, I don't think there'll be any letdown because now our backs are against the wall, right? You're dropping out of the top four, you got to climb back up in there. So now you're looking for help. I don't know if Georgia's going to lose a game. I don't know if
Well, I mean, you
Cincinnati's
don't
going to lose a
actually
game.
need help. They still don't need help. They just have to win their games and beat Georgia.
Beat Georgia instead of whether they're going to beat Georgia, right? Okay, I'm with that. Point taken. So it just, I don't know. Georgia still scares me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I still, even before this game, I thought Georgia was a better team.
Yes, Georgia is the one that scares me, not really anybody else. That's going to be a battle. It's going to be one, if all goes well, you know, it'll be one hell of a SEC championship game. That's for sure. Because the whole rematch of second and 26 and doing this all over again, man, good Lord, it could be, you know, that's going to be a slugfest. That's a must see. That's one we need to be at, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that could potentially be a game where, I mean, that might be a 2011 LSU Alabama type thing. Like it would not surprise me if nobody actually scores an offensive touchdown.
Right. That's right. And the bad thing is you might have to end up playing again, right? Playing the SEC championship, and then if they go opposite in the playoffs, you might have to play 3 times or a second time, you know, for the championship. So who knows? Who knows? I think we're going to be okay. Hats off to all you Aggie fans because I know y'all listening, y'all paying attention to what's going on. All you JP2 folks that are listening, all you pretend Aggie folks, hey man, you know, it was you guys' national championship. It was. You know, I got every little deal we're talking about, and I don't know if I think A&M's gonna lose again. JT, I think they're gonna lose again. I'm not sure who they play this week. But they're emotionally drained over this big win. You know, and I think they're gonna have a letdown somewhere else, so they won't even be in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, let me see if I can find it because I mean I do know that before the week, Saban called Texas A&M a trap game, which is a little disconcerting.
Yeah, since called it that, yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, so they've got to go to Missouri. I don't know. I wouldn't be worried about Missouri.
No, Missouri. That's for sure.
I mean, at least I wouldn't be worried about their next 2 games. Their next 2 games are not against good teams.
Missouri's terrible. I don't know who was taking
Missouri and South Carolina. Yeah, they can win those.
You know, it doesn't matter. I think
South
we just have to keep doing our thing. Yeah. Okay. So Emma just has to get back on track, right? There's a few things that we need to show up. We gotta fix the running game. I think you're a little bit more skeptical than I am about that. I think we're going to be fine there. I think we'll be okay. I think we got the home run hits and the threats. Jameson, Robinson, Mechie, we got to get him involved as much. Keep the tight ends involved. I think we got a lot of offensive weapons, and I think we can do well there. I think we got exposed a little bit because of what you said earlier, the protection, though. People stunning and all that, we're probably going to get more of that. So we gotta fix that. And then defensively, we just gotta stay sound. And the only thing I always worry about, backs out of the backfield. We gotta fix that because I just keep seeing people, you know, Ole Miss tried to do it. I think we had more talent than them. Texas A&M pretty good out of the backfield. They're pretty good out of the backfield. I just hope we don't get exploited that way. All right. So Anything I'm missing with that? Anybody listening to anything that I need to address with this and the whole Bama talk? Because we're going to be fine, JT. I think we're going to be fine, right? I will be in Alabama in another month. I'm going to be coming to speak. I get the honor and the privilege to be able to speak with some benefactors of the university there. I was invited by Greg Byrne and the Alumni Association, A Club, to be able to come back and talk Alabama football and continue the giving there. So I'm really excited about that. So I will be in Tuscaloosa for a brief time, for a little bit about that. All right. So if you have any questions about that, oh yeah. So Meredith Henry is talking about this. She didn't put it on there. She texted me. Legal procedure. You tell everybody about this doggone play that she's talking about and try to get them.
Yeah, so she's talking about, I believe it was the third quarter. It might have been the fourth. Definitely the second half. A&M is confused. They are not lined up at all, and they left Jamison Williams out to the left side of the formation. Well, the left side from Alabama's point of view over the formation. And they're like at the 2-yard line. They left him uncovered, snapped the ball, threw it out to him. You slow it down. You can see that our left tackle wasn't quite set. I think nobody notices it had Gary Danielson not said anything of it, which I don't like Gary Danielson. I think most of the time he has no idea what he's talking about, especially that first play that Alabama had. They called delay of game on A&M, and Gary Danielson is on this like 3-minute rant about like away crowd and whatnot and how it's 1st and 15. And I was like, you do realize that they called it on A&M, right? It's 1st and 5. It's not 1st and 15. But anyway, that's me kind of just saying, I don't know that Gary has the benefit of being able to slow down the play and zoom in on one person, where the referees do not have that same ability. But at the end of the day, you can't leave receivers uncovered on the goal line. So the point is moot if you just have somebody stand there. Like, he doesn't even have to know what the coverage is. Just be there in the area of where a receiver is so that they can't do something like that. And they didn't do that. I don't even know how he got out there. I don't know if he came off the sideline, which I guess you can't do because you'd actually have to. Don't you have to you have to get into the hash?
No, inside the numbers.
Okay, so you got to get inside the numbers. I don't know. I don't know whether he came off the sideline or they just broke the huddle and whoever that corner over there was too busy doing something else to realize that somebody had just ran out there. But, I mean, I think the bottom line is at least stand there. Don't give them that opportunity. Don't let the refs decide the outcome of a play. I'd say this all the time, but you know, if that's something that you want to be upset about, you won the game, so I would find other things to be upset about.
Well, JT, and I'm saying this because she's being chicken anyway. You should be in the chat on the thing. You shouldn't be texting me. You should be on your Facebook chat, punching in your questions like everyone else. Right? But why are we even talking about this when they won the game? You know, we're always trying to nitpick about something or whatever. JT hit it right? The officials aren't perfect. Real time, high environment. They're gonna miss things. Good Lord, I get tired of talking about this as a coach and everything else. Is that the officials miss things, right? Every single week. How many times do we see it? They're never 100%. So yeah, did he
Yeah, and
move or
sometimes they
whatnot?
even
I
give Penn
get.
State extra, or they short Penn State an entire down.
Yeah, people probably don't even remember that part, right? I don't know if that happened again recently, but
It
shoot, they
did. It
give people
happened when they
extra
played
downs.
Auburn. It happened this year. They called. They told Penn State it was fourth down, and it was third down. And Penn State threw a fit, and they were like, "No, it's third down." And the refs was like, "Nope, it's fourth down." So they punted it.
So I mean, it's we don't want to get down to that and all this kind of stuff. And the last thing she was talking about was really about 12th man and different things like that. I'm not going to give 12th man too much credit. What I want is to anybody who's listening is crowd noise actually makes a difference. Doesn't matter where it is. You can call it a 12th man, but I do know, and JT, maybe you can speak to this too, just from your playing days, but home field advantage is a big deal. When you're loud and you're rowdy and you're interacting with your players and, there's this vibe and this feeling, it does make a big difference. So having a tradition like 12th man and the rocking back and forth and all that kind of stuff is really, really cool. Right? I'll get that. But, when you're in a tight game like this and emotions are going and there are swings, momentum swings, and different things like that, the crowd can make a huge difference in the way that your teams play. That's why they call it home field um, advantage. So, yes, it is. It does. I'll speak on behalf of them. I'm sure when you got 100, what did they say it was 106,000 people or something like that. Top of their lungs. I can't imagine how deafening it was. And you got a rookie, a second year quarterback like we had trying to deal with this. Yeah, he's played in some big games or been around it and heard it. But when you're in it and they're yelling at you, and man, it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
I remember. I mean, even just the first time I played on the varsity at Hebron, and we were playing Jesuit, and I wasn't particularly expecting to go into the game, but they threw me out there. I was playing safety, and it's not like I didn't know what I was doing. I had practiced all week. I had been playing on JV all year. We ran the same defense. I knew what the coverages were. I knew what all the checks were. And for whatever reason, we get out there, or I get out there, and I couldn't hear anything. And there definitely wasn't 100,000 people at Jesuit, but I I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't function. I remember Wes Hammer being the other safety, and he's telling me what check they're making, and I'm looking at him. I see the signals he's making, and I see his mouth moving, and it did not register at all what I was supposed to be doing. And I'm just standing there looking at him. The ball snapped, and I got lucky because the ball gets snapped. I guess Chad Barlow knew what he was doing. I still don't actually remember what the coverage was. I don't think he knew what he was doing because I don't know. I can't even say what the coverage was. But it was one of those deals. The guy ran a slant. It hits Chad Barlow in the head, bounces off his helmet, pops in the air. And because I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't move. I was standing there, and the ball just fell in my lap, and I ended up getting an interception on my first play. Not because I was any good, but just because I didn't know what I was doing, and I froze. And then the next time I was out there, it was on punt return, and again, it was loud. I got scared. I dropped the ball. We recovered it, but I think that was the last time they put me back there on punt return, which I told them to stop doing anyway because I didn't want to be back there. But that's a story for another day. But all that to say that crowd noise is definitely something. I experienced it at Coppell, and even though we won the game, the loudest that I can remember was Allen's old stadium when they used to have to bring extra bleachers in, and we were playing them on senior night, and that was probably the loudest, because we actually couldn't hear anything, and I was a senior then, so I knew what I was doing. I wasn't afraid or shaking in my boots, but just even being able to hear the snap count or trying to make defensive calls, like we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, So I know somebody will probably ask it later. But some of the loudest games I played in was playing at Rocky Top, and that was way back when they had one of the largest stadiums. They were one of the early ones that had 100,000 people or whatnot. And it was super loud in there. And playing in the first game at Auburn when we actually, didn't play at a neutral site anymore and actually been at Jordan Hare. That was crazy, ridiculous. Just a rivalry game. It was unlike it was we were young, and trying to figure it out, and it was just you couldn't hear anything. It's funny that you say that. You're looking at your teammate is only a few feet away from you, and you can't hear him, you see him, and it's kind of what happened to me in the league as well when I played in Minnesota my rookie year. Being in that dome, it was just ridiculously loud. So anyway, going into that to the NFL, we spent a lot of time on this at the college stuff. Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm thinking that okay. So I'm saying I'm still thinking the real deal. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the luck maybe that they've had. We played teams, good teams that have not been at full strength. We even talk about the Giants. Saquon Barkley gets hurt. They don't have none of their starting wide receivers. Daniel Jones goes down. Yeah, okay. Do you count that as a win? Do you count the Panthers, the things that we talk about? Do we talk about them? Do we get credit for that? Do we get credit for beating the Chargers? So are we really as good as we think we are? Is it going to change second half of the season? I don't think so. I think we are who people are seeing that we are. I think the offense is very, very explosive. We got a lot of weapons there. We can stay healthy, would be good there. I think the defense is drastically improved, regardless of who it is, because you have people like Michael Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and these other young linebackers. The guys up front that are really, really big difference in this. So I think we're here to stay. I think we win against the Patriots this week. I do want to go to the Vikings Cowboys game after after that. I think that would be a fun one just to go to since they're playing up in Minnesota. It'd be good, kind of good to be there. But what do you? Are we real? Am I being a homer here, JT?
No,
I'm a Cowboys fan through it.
I think that the Cowboys are doing what they're supposed to be doing against these kind of teams. Full strength or not. Before we've seen the Cowboys play down to their competition sometimes and play up other times. I think you're seeing a very consistent team, which is not something that I think I would have characterized them as over the past few years. The only thing that was consistent about them was their record, or at least their standard deviation of their record, somewhere either right on 8-8 or on one side or the other of 8-8. Which I guess this is a great year because you can't go 8-8 now. So, here, I'm reading this comment from Bryce Carlson. So he's saying the difference I've noticed in this year's team is these wins are complete wins. Like last year, the Atlanta win was a comeback win and obviously entertaining to watch. However, this season, these wins are complete four-quarter wins where we're pulling away at the end instead of Dak having to throw for 400 yards and bringing us back. And I think that's basically what I'm saying is these are teams that they should be beating and they should be handling well, much like the Patriots. We've already discussed the Patriots. I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. They ran for -1 yards. Mac Jones was running for his life. Like, we got pass rushers. And if we don't have to worry about them actually running the ball real well, and he's gonna have to throw it around, he just better not throw it around Trayvon Diggs, because that ain't worked for anybody yet. So I think they're well on their way. It's definitely a playoff team. They definitely should win the division. I don't think anybody in the division is really any good again.
Teams tripping. Eagles are tripping.
Man, I don't even know
Giants,
what
I
happened
don't
to
know, they got a
football team's
chance.
defense. They were supposed, last year their defense was just hanging them in ball games, and now they got the same dudes, and it's just not working out for them. I guess they figured it out. Bryce Cole says that New England feels like a trap game to me. Angry Bill. I mean, I guess maybe, but the weather is supposed to be bad, so I don't know. Like, weather's supposed to be bad? You got to go up to New England, maybe. I mean, I don't think they're
Well,
gonna win out the rest of them. I mean, they got to lose one somewhere. Maybe it's New England. I don't see it,
yeah,
but
I don't either. I think, our fellow Bama guy, Mac Jones, is getting riled up a little bit. Ricky Itis is catching up with him a little bit. That he kind of went to that wall, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. He'll bounce back. Um, um, we got to watch Zeke, check his health, see what's really going on there. But Pollard's playing extremely well, so I don't think we have necessarily a fall off there. Pollard comes in. These dudes, man, Dalton Schultz and these guys, man, they're just picking up. I mean, they're just doing a lot of really, really good things. And I'd be crazy not to talk about Trayvon Diggs, right? So he's already getting talks about, hey, is he playing like Deion Sanders? And he was kind of beat on that one pass play that he intercepted.
he
By the way, he
was.
should have had 3 interceptions. He was beat, but I think I've told that story on here on Teague
Was he was he
before.
was he beat, or was he baiting a deep throw?
Uh, I was about to say, could that be both? That he put himself in a beat position to bait that. And I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Brian Broaddus or someone that said something, or it could have been a former player. I can't remember. But I know they said something, because I thought that in the game. I was like, man, that really kind of looked like how Dion would set people up, dare him to throw the post so he could go chase it and catch that. And I know I've told that on the show. Dion would literally let people pass him so they would throw it and he'd go chase it down. And that's what it looked like, because he wasn't even looking at the Diggs wasn't even looking at the wide receiver anymore. He just played the ball the whole freaking time, and it was beautiful. I was sitting there watching it live, and I was just like, when it was up in the air, I was like, oh, he's gonna go get that. I was just waiting for him to hot step and go score with it. After that, especially after you dropped the very first one, I guess maybe we got knocked it out. Then the second one, we'll try to make a hell of a catch. So I just think we got too many weapons coming up for this week, regardless of the weather.
Oh yeah, this week.
What?
I just think, like, once teams finally figure out, like, okay, don't throw it at 7. I don't know, find 30. Start putting your guy in the slot, do some motion where your best guy gets matched up with 30, and just, I don't know, throw the ball 50 times. See what happens. Maybe
I don't
these
know,
games
man.
will be a little bit closer.
Got some pressure though, man. We are getting pressure on them folks, man. Making people run, getting off that spot. The quarterbacks aren't just being able to sit there and throw, you know. So I don't know. I'm gonna ride this train out for a little while. Am I still sold that we're Super Bowl,
Oh,
the
that's
Super
not the
Bowl
one I wanted.
winners?
I mean, that works too. That's a
Look
good
at
way to see
you.
the comments. I was trying to show the play that we were talking about last week. I don't know. Let me try again. Nope.
Oh.
Um,
So, I was going into the are we winners, Super Bowl winners. Which play are you
okay.
talking
Super
about,
Bowl
JT?
winners. I'm talking about the interception. Trayvon Diggs' first interception against Carolina.
Oh yeah, it looked like the one that he dropped this week. Is that what you're saying?
No, just talking
but
about
anyway.
like sound defense, about how Darnold threw an interception to Trayvon Diggs. Meanwhile, he had a receiver wide open.
Okay. So I'll make this statement, that I want to talk about sound defense for the last 5 minutes or a couple minutes or whatever we can talk about. The Texas OU game is what I'm saying for my last statement.
Ooh, I got a screenshot.
Yeah. So before you put that up, what I want to say is the Cowboys. I'm not ready to be able to say that we're number one team. I am a homer, but I'm not being able to see that because I'm watching the Buffalo Bills play, and I think they are really, really good. I mean, they're a high-powered offense. They ain't really trying to run the ball. They can run the ball, but with their weapons and their scheme and a quarterback that's mobile like that, they are super, super dangerous. And their defense is probably not getting enough credit about how well they can play as well. So I know that's an AFC team. From our side, how we match up against Arizona and those guys, I don't know. So the last thing I want to talk about is what JT is trying to put up here. We're always talking about sound defenses. What do you put people in position to try to win a game or not lose a game? And so I know that you guys have heard us a few times talking about when defenses are misaligned, right? And so me and Consuela had the opportunity to go to the Texas OU game, and you can't see it when you're sitting out in the stands and you're figuring out why coaches call a certain play when they ran that, when Texas A&M ran that, what do you call it, wildcat type play, and took it to the house to win the football game essentially. Texas had a big no-no, in my opinion, as a coach. I don't know if you can show this or not. Alignments. So I don't have an arrow for me to draw on the screen, but if you look at the top side of the screen, Texas has a 0 alignment with the nose guard. So he's lined up directly over the center. And then they got another defender outside of the tackle, right? So there's 2 gaps that are open right there. Now, you're probably going to say, for you coaches and all this kind of stuff, well, there's one linebacker there and maybe lined up over the A gap, right? To the top side. Well, that's not enough. If you look at the players, you can get, plus with the back over there. So there are already 4 people to the top side on A&M side and only 3 on Texas side. Plus, you got a motion man, number 12, coming over there to the other side where they did not adjust to it. So now they have more people than not, right? So hand the ball.
And there's one more thing that you're missing here. So, I mean, not only like right now, as the picture sits, it may not be a touchdown, but this is a big gain, right? If you just running back goes straight downhill, you got the center taking a nose guard, you have your tackle taking whoever this guy on the edge, that's a 7. You got your guard taking the linebacker, and now you're one-on-one with the safety, if all goes well. But not only do you have the motion guy, they pulled a guard. So they pulled the backside guard from where all these other people are, and they ended up having an extra man. They had a guy for the people that are already lined up on that formation, plus another guy, and the running back goes essentially untouched from the 33 with 10 seconds left in the game.
Because you got enough to get to the safety. If you got any kind of bad read, well, you got a guard or a wide receiver that can get to the safety. You got a pulling guard, as you said, that can come back and actually get the other linebacker. I don't know if I'm making sense to everybody, but you can block both linebackers with both guards
Mm-hmm.
if you pull, right? You block down, and you're basically going to leave these other guys free back here. Your H back tight end guy can block, which is essentially a 5 technique down here at the bottom. So you're not worried about him, and you're not worried about the outside linebacker at all. So there's too many people down here to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys at the bottom of the screen for Texas.
And then what makes it worse is when that motion went, they didn't even shift. The line didn't go with them. The linebackers didn't go with them. They stayed right there. They moved everybody. They didn't, like I said before, they were holding up the big sign that says, hey, run right here. Right here.
Yes. And see, I didn't get to see that in the game, but I'm glad you pointed this out and brought this up, because those are the things, when you're in this stadium, you're going, man, what the heck happened? Because all I'm thinking about at the game was, man, that was a gutsy call. It's late. I don't think there was another timeout left, or maybe they had one. I don't think they had any timeouts left. I'm just, I was like, oh, when it goes to the house, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's happening. I'm being analytical, trying to figure out what the heck happened. How did they take it to the house? Then you see this and you go, good Lord, was this player error? Was this coaching error? Did they see this and know this before? And that's why they called it, because they were anticipating this. So
here's my
hell of a job.
Here's my terrible markup that I was able to do on the fly. Just so you can get a little bit of a visual of what we're talking about here. You've got this center lined up with the nose guard, and then the end that they have over here. The visual is just supposed to show you how wide this gap is and how many people. I mean, they can fit 2 linemen in between these 2 guys, and then you're just going to let a third lineman come in and then let the running back go down the field. According to this screenshot that I took of the TV, I just took this with my phone as it was happening. Oklahoma has 1 timeout with 10 seconds left. Game's tied. They're going in. So they're already in field goal range. I did do a little bit of the Lane Kiffin here when I saw this. When I saw them line up, I did like this too. I was like, yeah, there's no reason to throw it. Like they're just gonna let you just run right here, and because they did it twice, and they did it at least twice. Same formation, same play, and it went for a big run the first time. So I was kind of
and it's just alignment, JT. All they had to do was take that 0 nose and move into a negative 1. In that A gap to the other side. Really, that makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So he still can get chipped and go up to the backer, but that at least makes the center to have to be able to help defeat that one technique. If he splits it or something, the play is going to be dead. So anyway, there you guys have it. Some high-level football talk about that. Not in a good spot. Thank you guys for listening in. We've gone over a little bit, I think. No, we're right at it.
Right on time.
Look at you. You're right on time. Right on time. I think this has been awesome. I know we had a chance to talk about a lot of different things. Thanks, you guys, for listening. Yeah,
I've got an update because I know Clara might have forgotten, but I was supposed to be putting out a poll, but I told you on Monday the data source in which I was pulling all the data from doesn't exist anymore. So I've got to find a new data source and basically recode the whole thing, which is kind of a bummer. So that means it's probably going to take me a few weeks because I really thought that I was going to be able to just click the button and run it a few times and get an output. But when I clicked it, I got a big old error, and it told me no. So I got to fix it, and got to find time to do that.
And shout out to her. She's a teacher, too, and I have to give her props because I know she's going to tweet at me or something later on anyway. She did beat me in fantasy football this week.
Yep, you're already addressing her comment, so there you go.
in our street team deal. I didn't have a very good output this time. I did call all my boys up though, Clara, and told them, "Hey, take it easy. I got to play that. I need to let her. I got to do a little bit of charity work. I need to let her win this week. So there it is for you, so that you can feel a little bit better about it. When we match up later on in the season, we'll see how it really goes. But I don't know, man. I've had a terrible year. JT, you've gotten hit with a lot of injuries.
Yeah, no,
my
my street team is not good. Everybody's hurt, and then everybody who's not hurt has no production at all. So like I don't even know where to go from here. This is classic Jags, Jets, Detroit. You know, we're just gonna have to tank for draft picks, I guess. I don't know how we're gonna get out of this one.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have anybody to trade. I don't even have like a star guy that I can be like, hey, you know, I'll trade you this one dude for like 3 bench guys. I don't have it. The roster's not good.
Yeah. So it's kind of tough out there for a little bit, and I got a little bit of work because I'm on the bottom half of the. I think Consuelo's still number 1. I think overall at it, and I'm on the lower half of it. But the good thing is we got a lot of time. And so my last comment, because JT gave me a good tease talking about people being hurt, do not blame the length of this season on the injuries. Don't blame NFL injuries on the length of this season, right? At the end of this year, because people are already getting hurt already. Preseason games are shorter. Off season was different. Guys are still banged up. Hamstrings, shoulders, neck, back, concussion, whatever, all this kind of stuff. So I don't want to hear the argument at the end of the year from players or from anyone else that, man, we played 17 games and we're all hurt. That's bull lucky because they're already hurt already, right? So I'm going to keep saying that. I tweeted it out 3 weeks ago. Here I am saying it again. Next 3 weeks, I know there's going to be some more guys get hurt. And I don't think let's not use this 17-game season as a reason of why guys are getting hurt, because that's not the case. Anyway, that's going to be enough for Teague's Take. JT, you got anything else before we sign off? Whatnot? Shout outs? Anything? Someone? Whatnot? No?
Nope. I don't have nothing for you.
Okay, well, I do appreciate it, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe and like button. Download the podcast. Share this with your friends. You know, let people know where we are. We try to keep it real, keep it just soft and cozy, and things of that nature. So we're going to be here on YouTube and Facebook, on Teague's Take channels, 8 p.m. Central Time every week. And then, you know, if you missed it, just keep downloading it. Go to your favorite podcast channel,
or watch
or
watch the replay on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, or watch the replays
and download the podcast, even if you're not going to listen to it. You know,
that's right. You got time? Pop it in on your car. Do like most people when you're on your way to work or wherever it is. Go ahead and do that. And, you know, again, find us on social media. You can hit me up. Of course, you can go through all the Teague's Take channels. At Teague's Take on Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's say that. Twitter. Or you can find me personally at Teague Football. So that's it, man. It's been a great night. We will see you next week. I look forward to trying to talk to you about this bounce back of what Alabama's going to do against Mississippi State, and watching these Cowboys go up there to the Northeast and putting this thing on those Patriots. So we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Peace out, man.